Takeo Goda is a large and strong high school boy who looks a bit like a gorilla. But although his guy friends think he's cool because of his gorilla-like physique, he hasn't been able to get a relationship because people are usually scared of him. Every time he likes a girl, she ends up liking his buddy, Makoto Sunasunokawa, who always turns them down. One day, when Takeo is in high school, he saves a girl named Rinko Yamato from an attack on the train. But then he gets in trouble for punching the attacker at the police station and gets suspended from school. Rinko is really grateful for what Takeo did, so she starts doing nice things for him, like baking treats. But Takeo thinks Rinko actually likes Makoto. Takeo is curious about why Makoto isn't interested in girls, even though they all like him. When they see Rinko again, Takeo is sure Rinko likes Makoto, so he tells her about all the times Makoto has helped him. Later, after they exchange contact info with Rinko, a big metal beam falls towards her. Takeo jumps in to protect her, even though he tells her to get to safety. Makoto and Rinko stay to help until help arrives. Afterward, Rinko wants to meet up with Takeo alone, but he thinks she wants advice about Makoto. When Rinko meets up with Takeo, she gets upset because all he talks about is how great Makoto is. When Takeo goes to Makoto for advice, Makoto tells him straight out that Rinko is actually in love with Takeo, clearing up any confusion. Makoto explains that he's turned down every girl who liked him because they said mean things about Takeo behind his back. Later, when Rinko visits, Makoto hides Takeo under his bed. He asks Rinko to openly express her feelings for Takeo so he can understand. After that, Takeo and Rinko admit their feelings for each other face to face and start dating. Rinko invites Takeo, along with his friends, including Makoto, to a singles gathering with her friends. Her friends are surprised to see Rinko's new boyfriend. During the event, Rinko gets upset and leaves when she overhears her friends, Aya and Nanako, talking badly about Takeo. Takeo finds her and tells her he doesn't care about what others say because Rinko always says nice things about him. Suddenly, a fire breaks out in the building where the event is happening, trapping Aya and Nanako inside. Takeo rushes in to save them but ends up trapped himself under some debris. With encouragement from Suna over the phone, Takeo finds the strength to break free and escape through a window on the second floor. After this brave act, Rinko's friends start to see Takeo in a new, positive light. As news spreads in class about Takeo and Rinko dating, Takeo rescues a kid from drowning on their way to another date. They go for a walk in the park at night, but Takeo seems to miss some subtle hints from Rinko. Makoto's older sister Ai visits him, and is surprised to find out Takeo has a girlfriend, as she used to like him herself. The next day, Ai tags along to Takeo's date to meet Rinko. Rinko gets upset when she finds out she messed up the cookies she baked. However, Takeo still likes them, which makes Rinko feel better. But she feels down when Takeo mentions how innocent she is, something Ai notices. Seeing Takeo starting to understand Rinko better, Ai offers to talk to Rinko about what's bothering her. As Takeo learns about romance from reading shoujo manga, Makoto and Ai meet Rinko. Rinko admits she wants to get closer to Takeo, but worries he'll think she's not pure if she tells him. Putting Rinko's feelings first, Ai tells her to be honest with Takeo. Later, Ai confesses to Makoto about her own feelings for Takeo. Takeo catches up to Rinko and listens to her requests without arguing. Rinko admits she lied a few times to spend more time with Takeo, which makes him even happier. That night, Rinko sees her first shooting star, while Takeo asks Makoto to practice kissing, but Makoto refuses. Takeo decides to join the judo club for a month to help them prepare for a match against a rival school, even though it means he'll have less time with Rinko. This becomes even less time when Takeo asks Rinko not to meet him at night for safety reasons. Rinko avoids seeing Takeo so she won't distract him from training, but she confides in Makoto about why she loves Takeo. On match day, Takeo's opponent, Tsuyoshi Iwayama, thinks having a girlfriend would make Takeo weak, but Takeo proves him wrong and wins the match for his team, powered by the strength he gains from Rinko. While thinking about what to do for Rinko's birthday on June 15th, Takeo finds out from his mom that he'll be a big brother in January. Makoto says he's busy on Rinko's birthday, but ends up helping Takeo with his plans anyway, remembering funny stories along the way. Takeo gets a part-time job at a cafe to save money for Rinko's gift. He finds out Makoto's dad is having surgery on June 15th, and Makoto asks him not to cancel plans with Rinko to be with him. Takeo decides to stick to his plans with Rinko and respect Makoto's wishes. On June 15th, after saying goodbye to Makoto, Takeo starts his birthday celebration with Rinko, following Makoto's plan. They go bowling and have dinner at a nice restaurant. Takeo can't stop thinking about Makoto and tells Rinko about his dad's surgery. Rinko understands and tells Takeo to go be with Makoto. After the surgery, Takeo and Makoto find Rinko waiting for them, and they all enjoy Rinko's birthday together, even though plans changed. Takeo and Rinko go on a mountain picnic to make up for missing her birthday celebration. While there, a hawk tries to steal Rinko's brooch, and they end up falling off the mountain. Thankfully, Takeo saves them, but they're lost in the woods. As they try to find their way back, Rinko worries about being alone with Takeo overnight. That night, Rinko gives Takeo a quick kiss on the cheek while he's sleeping. The next morning, they meet some animals before finding their way back to the road and getting home safely. Rinko invites Takeo and his friends to the beach with her and her friends. Rinko's friends want her to surprise Takeo with a new swimsuit to make him excited, but Takeo just wants to swim and not think about anything else. Rinko feels embarrassed when her plan doesn't work out, but later she and Takeo enjoy watching the sunset together romantically, although they get interrupted before they can kiss. Hearing that Rinko wants to go to the same college as him, Takeo asks Makoto to help him study for a big test so he can go to the college Rinko likes. Rinko comes over to help Takeo study, and Takeo's parents try hard to impress her. This makes Takeo uncomfortable, so he studies at Makoto's place instead. During the test, Takeo feels confident, but he realizes he put all his answers in the wrong spots. He tries to fix it, but ends up with bad grades. Rinko tells Takeo they can go to a different college together. She also points out that the college Takeo took the test for was actually for women only, something Makoto knew all along. Takeo and Rinko plan a surprise birthday celebration for Makoto, with Takeo covering the expenses. While they're at Takeo's workplace, they meet Hayato Oda, who knows Ai from university and came to see her, even though she rejected him. Later, Takeo worries when Rinko turns down a trip to an amusement park. Ai and Hayato convince Rinko to admit she's scared of a rumored jinx that causes couples to break up there. Hayato suggests they all go together as a group to break the jinx. That night, Hayato stays over at Takeo's place and tells him how he fell for Ai. The next morning, Hayato tells Ai he wants to separate Takeo and Rinko so she can confess her feelings to him. At the amusement park, Hayato takes Rinko and Makoto away so Ai can have time alone with Takeo. As they search for them, Ai almost tells Takeo how she feels but decides not to. She likes that he's clueless about her feelings. Instead, she tells Rinko to ignore the jinx and watch the parade with Takeo. Takeo is part of the class's relay team for the sports festival. But when one of their fast runners gets hurt, Maria, who's slower, takes her place. Takeo doesn't think Maria is as slow as people say, so he trains her to run faster. He accidentally makes her run faster because she's scared he'll run her over. On the day of the festival, Maria trips, but Takeo encourages her to pass the baton to him, and their team wins easily. Maria gives Takeo a towel as a thank you, which worries Rinko that she might like Takeo. A few days later, after Takeo helps Maria with a twisted ankle, she tells him she likes him as a friend and asks to learn from him. This makes Rinko feel better. Takeo and his friends invite Maria to a festival at a university. Rinko and Maria bond over their admiration for Takeo. Later, Makoto figures out that Maria likes Takeo romantically. He advises her to tell Takeo how she feels because hiding her feelings will only make her unhappy. Encouraged by Makoto, Maria confesses her feelings to Takeo, but he doesn't feel the same way. After this, Takeo realizes that Rinko shouldn't worry about him not being popular with girls. It's because he only has eyes for Rinko. Takeo tells Rinko he loves her and stays friends with Maria. While getting ready for a Christmas party, Takeo finds out his friend Osamu Korihara wants to tell Nanako, Rinko's friend, how he feels about her. Takeo and Rinko decide to help them get together. But at the party, Korihara's pushy behavior upsets Nanako. She gets mad and leaves when Takeo has to step in to protect her from some troublemakers instead of Korihara doing it himself. Takeo tells Korihara to step up and be brave. Korihara climbs a big Christmas tree to get a star for Nanako, showing he's serious about her. Finally, they both confess their feelings to each other. When Takeo hears that Osamu and Nanako have kissed, he thinks about when the right time would be to kiss Rinko. Meanwhile, Rinko gets advice from Makoto and Ai about kissing Takeo herself. On Takeo's birthday, New Year's Day, they go to a shrine together before going to Takeo's place, where they meet his old friends. After they finally have some time alone, Rinko kisses Takeo while he's making his birthday wish with his eyes closed. Takeo only realizes he's been kissed after talking to Makoto. He hurries to Rinko's house to have another first kiss with her. Rinko learns from Takeo's mom, Yuriko, about Takeo's birth and why he's so protective of her. Takeo tells Rinko he was a big baby when he was born, weighing 43 grams. Rinko shares that she was born premature and had to stay in an incubator because she was so small, less than 2,000 grams. Takeo worries about his mom being so active while pregnant. His dad, Yutaka, talks about falling in love with her. Yuriko has to go to the hospital after feeling pain in her stomach, and Takeo gets really worried. Rinko and Makoto come to support Takeo. Yuriko goes into labor, and Takeo helps her when she offers her wheelchair to another pregnant woman. With the help of the safe birth charm Rinko gave her, Yuriko gives birth to a big but healthy baby girl, Maki. who's almost as big as Takeo was. Rinko says she wants to work with kids as a midwife or nursery teacher. As Valentine's Day gets closer, Rinko invites her friends to make chocolate together on the 13th, while Takeo's friends plan to hang out with the girls on the 14th. On the 14th, the girls and guys meet up. Takeo is excited to see what chocolate he'll get from Rinko, but he's shocked when she leaves early without giving him any. Takeo thinks the cookies he got earlier were the chocolate Rinko made, and he regrets not savoring them. But then Rinko shows up with the real chocolate she made just for him. Yuriko scolds Takeo for waking up Maki with his loud excitement. Takeo meets Yukika Amami, who has liked Makoto since they were kids but never talked to him. When she finally gets a chance to talk to Makoto, Yukika blurts out her feelings. Makoto remembers her as the one who gives him anonymous valentines every year. He agrees to exchange contact info with Yukika so they can get to know each other better. Yukika still finds it hard to talk to Makoto, so Rinko suggests they all go to the zoo together. During their zoo trip, Yukika finds it hard to talk to Makoto at first, but eventually, she starts chatting with him casually. Later, she wins a quiz contest with Makoto and talks to him more. The next day, Yukika thinks Makoto only hung out with her out of kindness, not love. She wants to cut ties with everyone. Takeo and Rinko catch up to her and help her understand her feelings. Afterward, Makoto gives Yukika a gift to thank her for the chocolates she gave him every year. He kindly tells her he doesn't feel the same way, but he wants her to have good memories. During spring break, Rinko gets a part-time job at a cake shop. Kuki, who works there, starts paying attention to her. While working together, Rinko helps Kuki sell some of his cake ideas. But Kuki thinks Rinko likes him because of it. Takeo gets jealous because Kuki calls Rinko by her first name, something Takeo hasn't done yet. When Kuki finds out Rinko is Takeo's girlfriend, he tries to convince Takeo to break up with her, thinking he's better for her. Takeo starts to worry Kuki might be right, especially when he sees Kuki giving Rinko a ride in his car. Kuki asks Rinko to help him in a baking contest. Rinko plans a day out with Takeo, but she has to cancel because Kuki needs her help. Takeo wonders if it's okay for him to be with Rinko. Her friends reassure him that Rinko picked him for who he is, so he decides not to let Kuki win. Kuki wants to win the baking contest and tell Rinko he likes her. He gets inspired by Rinko talking about Takeo and makes a special dessert for the contest. On contest day, Kuki forgets his tools at the store, so Rinko asks Takeo to bring them to him. With Rinko and Takeo's support, Kuki wins the gold medal and tells Rinko he likes her. But she chooses to stay with Takeo and tells Kuki he won because of his hard work. Later, Takeo starts calling Rinko by her first name, taking their relationship a step forward. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.